lose 10% of the population.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Bob Ballou. I'm the council president, and the mayor could not be here tonight, so I'm sitting in this chair. Let's have a roll call. Collins.
Here.
Ballou, here. Contos.
Here.
Van.
Here.
Umstead.
Here.
Buxton.
Here.
Okay, we are all here. Okay. Did everybody get their copy of the minutes from the last meeting? And if they did, was there any amendments? Hearing no objections, I'll say that they are approved. Okay, it brings us to public speaks. Miss Jackie DePietro, do you have anything?
I do.
Okay.
Actually, I'm here, and first of all, I would like to start out by saying that this is not directly against the police department specifically, but I'm here to, I guess, gather some information and figure out like what is going on. I've noticed that we don't always have a police cruiser that's patrolling all shifts. Saturday night, there was an incident where I was heading home and I seen a Stark County Sheriff's officer or cruiser heading north on Worley. And so I had went up kind of what's going on, East Canton. And I went up around, like up on Medina and through there. As I came back down, there was another sheriff deputy that was heading up there, which I still don't know exactly what was going on. The part that I thought was very interesting, though, is that there was no East Canton police cruiser that was in attendance or, there on site at that point. Came back down by the police department and all three cruisers are here. No one's working. Same thing Sunday morning. No one's out on patrol. So, I guess the reason that I decided to come was because we just passed a police levy. I mean, I own a couple houses in the village. I pay taxes like everybody else does. And I feel that it's important that we have the police department that's patrolling. If I need a well check done, do I call the sheriff's department? Do I call East Canton and nobody answers? And I understand, I know that we're kind of going through like trying to find, patrol officers and so on and so forth. But my concern is that if we don't have the coverage, then should we have the police department or what are we going to do to fix it? So that's kind of the long and short of why I'm here and what my concern is.
Okay, well, it's true. We had officers leave and we got positions to fill. And it just takes time to do that. As far as the police patrol schedule, I don't have any direct knowledge of that. I would have to defer to Officer Crouch for that.
I mean, I think this is very important because as a taxpayer, and I think everyone in the village of East Canton that pays taxes, when we pass a levy and we're paying money for a police department and we should have these patrol cars covering these shifts, because what happens, okay, so let's take Saturday night when we didn't have, all three cruisers were here and nobody was working. So how does the sheriff, maybe this should be directed to you, how does the sheriff know, how do they know to respond to a call? How does that happen?
They actually call me. I'll tell them if we have anybody available. And right now, they're short-staffed. We're slotted for 3 million too, full-timers. And part-timer situation is also short-staffed. I mean,
So like how long
I know you
is-
passed the grant, but apparently we're out of our budget as well. So there's not a whole lot we can do when it comes to that. But right now, it's just a staffing issue until we hire another full-timer.
So like how long have we, because I've kind of noticed this off and on, and I haven't said anything, but like I said, Saturday night when I still I mean, who knows? I mean, we have people here that their houses are very close to that location, which regardless, East Canton's a small community, so it doesn't take long to get from one end of the town to the other. But for the time for a Stark County Sheriff deputy to respond to one of our calls in East Canton, it's going to be a lot longer than if we have a cruiser here on duty. So the other part of my reason for being here is how are we going to fix this? Because in my opinion, I don't want to pay taxes for something that I'm not getting, and I doubt if many homeowners want to do that. So how do we fix it, and what do we do so that we do have a police cruiser? If we have someone that needs a well check done on somebody at a home, what do? They call the sheriff and they come out? Like, that's not what our East Canton community should be.
I agree.
So, I mean, somehow, if we don't have the staffing, what do? Do we not have a police department?
I think the mayor said that there's at least 2 applications they're looking through right now that just came in recently. This was yesterday when I talked to him. And we're also, we had the chief kind of put us in a hole throughout the summer. So.
We kind of knew that was coming though, right? I mean,
Well, I mean. But it's health stuff, so it was
right.
treading on, you know how you can't.
Right.
So there's HIPAA issues involved with that,
Right.
but now that he is resigned, I'm
Yes, well-
certain that the mayor is going to be putting the feelers out to get another chief in here as well.
So
Well, let me directly help Sergeant Crouch. If you have a question or a concern, you call dispatch 911. If there's an officer on duty, they notify Sergeant Crouch. If for some reason, there is not an officer on duty, and let's take it to a less contentious thing. Let's say that both officers are in court testifying during the day. That happens from time to time. They get subpoenaed, they're in court. So if there's nobody patrolling the village during that time, then dispatch would notify the sheriff to respond. Correct, Sergeant?
Correct.
But first call is always to East Canton, and then dispatch will notify whoever is available. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So,
And
so you don't call
right.
the sheriff, you call East Canton Police.
No, I guess I said that wrong, but I get that. So, and that's understandable because we will have them at court and so on and so forth. I'm talking about our everyday shifts that should be covered when, like Saturday evening, when we didn't have any coverage. If we had somebody go in and rob Family Dollar, what happens? They obviously, by the time someone would respond, we have no one even in the village to respond. Or if your house is getting broke into, we have nobody to respond in a quicker time frame. So I mean, that's all I'm going to say. But I just think that at this point, that now that's why I'm here. I want it on notice that we really diligently need to either fix it one way or another, because I think it's important for everybody, all the residents in East Canton.
Well, we work on staffing issues all the time.
Well, we need to try a little harder.
So
We exhaust about every effort we can.
So then do we get rid of the police department then?
We've had trouble, all police departments have had trouble with staffing.
I understand that, but I mean, my concern is not any other police department. My concern is this police department.
Well, it's not a
here.
problem that just resides in the village of East Canton.
The next time they make a police levy, go around and get people excited for it so they pass it. We barely pass every time.
Barely.
What are you talking
Well, I mean, basically is, I mean, we're very short staffed. And, I can only have guys work so much. So I would say majority, if not 90%, 99% of the time, shifts are covered. So it just
So I guess that was-
happened, for example, Saturday night was just the one shift that wasn't covered, but the very next shift was covered.
So like if we took the last 3 months, how many shifts do we think have not been covered by the police department in the last 3 months?
In the last 3 months, I would say probably 8 to 10 shifts. But that's just an 8-hour period. But I mean, the last 3 months, it's majority just been me as the only full timer.
Now, that's why I say, like, I'm not here to, make this like about you. It's really our village. It's the safety and security of our residents here in town. And how do we resolve this? How do we make sure that we do something that's going to be to the advantage of all the residents that are here.
Well, the solution to me would be to get staff up the police department as it should be, because right now it's not as it should be. So we are working on it and.
What's that?
It's posted currently, right?
Yes, we currently have a posting for part-time officers and the police chief. And I think Josh said that or somebody said that we've only, or Nick did, I'm sorry. We have only gotten 2 applications for the part-time officers and probably close to a dozen for the police chief position.
Where's it posted?
Indeed.com.
Are we doing a little bit better job of interviewing these people and checking their background and making them realize what's going to happen here? Because in the last 4 months, we've lost 2 officers. Officer Mixon left and that guy that worked 3 weeks. Did they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the guy that worked 3 weeks, I mean, everything on paper was squared away in visual.
Are you at liberty to tell us why he left?
I don't know if I want to speak negative on someone, but basically it was a pay discrepancy and also a little immaturity.
But he knew what he was going to get
He
paid, right?
absolutely knew he was going to get paid and what he was going
And
to
then
get
he
paid.
complained about it or didn't like it or something. I mean, I think we need to do a little bit better finding out what these people are going to do and stay. Now this, excuse me,
You can like do some, like
Yeah.
really and true. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't force somebody to be a cop and come work for us.
no, I'm just
We run the
talking-
chief, we run the chief that put us in this big pickle all summer through every background and a psych evaluation and a lie detector, you name it. And it still turned out like crap after a year and a half. So, I mean, there's only so much we can do. You know, of course we want, not any one of us sitting here want to have open holes in the shift, but that's been something that's happened long before even this, it's just no one's, noticed it. It's even happened before these fellas, occasionally. It doesn't happen very often, but, when we get them in, especially the part-timers, we try to bring them in as quickly as possible, the chief and the full-timers, they definitely go through more background than, especially the chief. So, let me say, we're doing as much as we can. At some point, we'll price it out, and then we will be stuck going with the sheriff's department, and you're going to have long wait times, just like out in the township. It'd be no different, and we don't want that either. So I think it's going to get straightened out. It's there's some pains right now because, the way the chief kind of left us, but.
With the
I think it's
hiring
good.
though, we're trying to fill holes, if somebody will come on and say, hey, I'll fill those holes.
We've been trying,
Thank
I got
you.
ones
We need
that
that.
won't work or do, put their shifts in that, when you get hired, they know they got to work 32 hours a month.
Mhm.
Well, they're not doing it. Well, it's okay. So we're trying to get through it so people realize, okay, if we're here, I got to work these shifts. So
Nobody feels worse about that police levy than I do because I busted hump trying to get that passed. Believe me, we were out there talking to people. It's not like we weren't out in the community. And then all that crap happened and I thought, people must be looking at me like I have 2 heads because I was very pro him, very positive. I thought he was a good guy. That's my point. I know you did all the background checks. I know you can't just pull people off the street, but I hope they're made to realize you're going to be working part-time. You have to work 32 hours. Are you going to do that?
And they say they do and then they don't.
Well, that happens. I know. It's just not a good record to see what's
And you
happening.
can only do so much with a part-timer when it comes to disciplinary action because you can't force them to work because they're a part-time employee.
They're
you can do
employed
more.
someplace else.
You
I
can-
understand that.
but if they don't meet our 32 hours, then we move them right off of the roster.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that we have are being taken by bigger municipalities.
Well, that's been the problems.
And I understand that, but
Right.
again, I
That's
think
the
they
whole
have to
point
be
of
made
trying to get the pay up to
understand.
make it competitive enough that if someone might say, you know what, yeah, I'll come work 32 hours a week here,
In reality, I mean, the previous chief left us in a really, really bad spot.
I
And now
know.
we're still trying to dig ourselves out of it. And right now, we're gonna have some bumps in the road until we get there, as if the shift not covered, a couple of shifts not covered, but we're gonna get there. It's just gonna take a
One of
little
your
bit
comments
time.
to Jackie was, we're working out of budget. do we not
Well, we're
have,
transferring
has that levy not gone into
out of the
effect yet?
general
Are we-
fund. Yes.
I don't know.
You have to ask.
I don't know.
I mean, do we not have the police budget after we pass that levy?
Even the levy pays about, you can ask Kurt for sure. I think the
What's that?
levy, what's the levy pay? As far as,
Levy brings in 200,000.
so about,
Operate the police
half.
department, yeah, it pays the wages and most of the benefits.
So has that levy that we passed, is that what they're working with now?
Part of it, we're gonna transfer another 200,000 tonight out of the general fund to cover operating expenses through April of next year.
So
Right,
that's in excess.
have we started seeing the new levy money? And that's
Yes.
what she's saying.
yes, we got 1 year's worth of new levy money in. So far, up until Wednesday, the December 4th, we have spent $363,518.78 operating the police department this year,
2024.
2024, yes.
And I can tell you right now, I'm sure Kirk can agree with it, majority has gone to overtime.
Oh, yes, yeah,
The-
a lot
the
of it
positions
is
we got put in.
overtime.
Well, I know because the full-time guys are working so much overtime
Yeah.
to cover the shifts. We get that. It's just like Jackie said, it's frustrating when
Right,
you don't see officers and then they come on and then they leave because they don't want to work or they're not making enough money. And they knew that when they came on. So you
It's
just
very
want to shake them and say,
frustrating.
what did you think was going to happen?
We share your frustration. We really do.
I mean, unfortunately, we're a stepping stone at points. That's just what
Right.
happens. They come, I know employees, they can say they'll come tomorrow and you never see them tomorrow. That happens all the time. I guess the reason for my concern is that, and not that you guys don't know it, but it's being noticed. And I mean, it's just tough because, you know, we have a great community and, you know, the police department is very important in my opinion. And I just would like to somehow be able to make sure that we get these answers and get the positions filled so that we know that our community is safe and protect as each one of you guys are that, you know, live in town. So
I'm in agreement.
Do we have a time frame when we're going to hire a new chief? I know you said you had, 12 applicants or something? Do we want to fill that by the end of January,
As soon as
February?
possible, obviously, but the mayor is kind of the one spearheading that. So, I mean, there might be a dozen applicants, but how many of them are chief material? There's, you know, other applications in for it as well, so.
2 of them were rejected right off the bat. I know that for a fact because I'm the one that rejected them.
But do we have a time frame? At
As
this
soon as
point.
possible, an exact day, not that I'm aware of. Like I say, Mayor Spencer would be better to answer that because, like I say, he's the one spearheading it, so.
It's hard just to hire a cop straight up the street. I mean, you gotta do, even for the part-timers, you gotta do additional background checks because of the position they're expecting to hold.
I can just imagine
takes
though,
time.
especially for you, you're doing 3 jobs. You'd want to get that filled, so you want to tell the mayor, please, let's expedite this and get somebody in here by January 15th or something. If all the background goes through and all the checks go through and everything's marked yes or no. But
Yeah,
that can be
but
done.
also
Things can
like
be
it-
rushed and pushed,
Yeah, but you also, what are you gonna skip by rushing and pushing now? You want
not skip anything.
Well, you don't want to be in this situation again.
Be adamant about
That's
it, you know?
basically what I'm saying.
I know. We know what you're saying. It's just, and we understand what you're saying. It's just frustrating. And I know you guys are all frustrated too. You don't want to hear the public complaining. It's scary is what it is. It's scary to think that, like Jackie said, you call for help and it could be 2 minutes or 20 minutes or 4 hours.
I say, we were, hate to beat on the guy, because I really liked him, you know, the chief. You know, it's, I guess it's with any employee though. It always starts off good until it's not.
Right.
But, I mean, the way he left us in limbo for, what was it, at least 2-3 months. Josh might be able
Closer to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, of just basically having our hands tied and not being able to do a damn thing about it because, you know, when it comes to health issues, how much can you force somebody to, you know, you can't have them come back if they're not clear. I mean, it's just a whole laundry list of issues. So I think the sergeant's done a really good job keeping things together. You know, it's embarrassing there's open shifts, but, you know, they're also working their tails off too.
I
Let
agree.
me say this
He's doing a lot of jobs.
in support of Sergeant Crouch. He's a dedicated police officer. He's demonstrated his dedication to this department. I'm sure he likes overtime when it comes time to pay his visa bill, but he is, like all of us, a human. It is a job. He has a family life, a home life, an outside the department life, and he's subject to burnout. And that's what happens if the questions that you raise aren't addressed. And they're trying to be addressed. It's not like hiring, a cashier at Walmart. It takes time, qualification, and effort. So to say an artificial timeline by January 15th or March 1st, it doesn't work that way. And I think you understand why.
I do now. That's why.
I compliment Sergeant Crouch because he's doing the job.
I agree, and I have told people that. I've told people that are asking me questions, because they know I come to the meeting, I tell them, come to the meeting. That's why I'm glad Jackie finally came. Nobody else is coming, everybody's complaining, but nobody wants to come and talk about it. And I
Jackie
tell
puts her
them,
money where
We
her
have
mouth is.
one officer that's got 3 roles going. He's
Did you put your
playing
money where your mouth?
police chief, he's playing sergeant, and he's playing cop.
Right.
And that's hard to do. He can't be everywhere 24/7.
So I can tell you for experience, that when you call for a wellness check for somebody, I had one not too long ago, last week. It took them 25 minutes to get there in a bigger police department than what we got here. Somebody had come to do a wellness check, and the person was DOA.
Well, I will say last winter, we had an issue where we did it was amazing what the police force did here in East Canton. I put something on Facebook, and within 5 minutes, I was getting a call from the lady at the dollar store because the officer was down there, wanted my phone number. I said, give him my address. He was at our house immediately and on a wellness check in 5 minutes. Now, that was last winter. We had more officers then. So it's not that they are not doing their job when they
Right.
can. It's
But
just,
they
again,
can't be there, not every department is gonna have somebody there within
right.
a matter of
Right.
minutes. It does take them time.
Right.
Because they're out doing something else.
Right, and that's true, and I absolutely agree with that and understand that. My concern just is bottom line that, I know it takes time, but people are noticing, and it's tough because then we're gonna get more pushback, because then you try to pass a levy down the road, and it's gonna make it tough.
We get
So,
it. But I mean, honestly,
Not that-
every meeting, we're talking about it, dealing with it. Believe me, in between meetings, like say, the mayor's, if she'd have been here tonight, he'd probably have more answers, but it's being worked on. You
Is
know.
he watching? Maybe he heard everything.
Better not be if he's got something else to do.
Should be here. Well, thank you,
We'll
that's,
keep you up to date.
thank you.
Okay. Miss Kathy, do you have anything? Okay. That completes public speaks. Okay, now we go to committee reports, service.
Okay, the water department repaired 3 water service lines, one at the laundromat, one on Ranowski, and one on South Plum. Under parks, we closed and winterized the park, officially closed now. Under roads, 11 street lights were reported, and AEP has repaired them. Put salters on the truck and the plows, ready to go. Under buildings, we installed a new man door at the service garage and installed a garage door opener at the water garage. GPS units to be installed on the 2024 F-350 truck is done. We're going to continue to schedule them. I got one scheduled for tomorrow. After that is done, we only have one left. It'll all be done.
All right. Be able to keep our eye on it.
Yeah. Any questions?
Doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
Brings us to safety.
Evening. Just for the last couple of weeks, it's slowing down. So we only had 23 calls. We had a theft, trespassing, 2 crash reports, two traffic tickets, one suspicious person, and about 15 other investigations. Still working on December schedule, getting it completely filled out. The ammo place that we wanted to use a PO through, they are requiring a check, not a PO. I guess that's what they did last time. I was just going off of what they did last time.
Your check approval's in tonight's
Perfect.
bills.
And still waiting on the new box of tickets, but we got a new printer system in. Should be getting that up to good to go tomorrow, so we can print tickets as well. Because right now it's been short.
Very well. Awesome.
Just a question. So when you get the new printer thing in,
Mm-hmm.
you said you're getting that up to go tomorrow. So I'm assuming while you're on duty, you're going to get the printer up to go.
Mhm.
So that's some of the times when you don't see somebody, he's also doing other things, which means he's not out there.
I think the difference what they're talking about is
Oh, the whole shift.
just one, not me. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially when you have two in just the last 2
Yeah.
days. that-
I got you.
Yeah, I mean, if it was up to me, we'd need way more staff. We'd have more slots for more staff, but I mean, village don't like finance so much. You know?
Did those slow down signs get put up yet?
That I don't know.
No.
No.
I don't know.
I just wondered if it had helped.
They haven't come in yet.
Oh,
Okay, let's go on to judicial.
We've got two ordinances, basically to transfer funds out of the general fund into the police operating fund and the permanent capital improvement fund. Ordinance 2024-22, an ordinance to authorize the Village of East Canton fiscal officer to make the following intra-fund transfers between the general fund, fund number 1,910,910, to the police operating fund, fund number 2904-931, and to declare an emergency. Be it hereby ordained by the council of the Village of East Canton that the Village of East Canton authorizes the fiscal officer to perform the following intra-fund transfer. General fund to police operating fund transfer, decrease the general fund transfers out fund, which is fund number 1,910-910 by $150,000. And to increase the police operating fund 2904-931 by $150,000 effective 12/2/24. That the Village of East Canton fiscal officer shall certify the increased appropriations to the Stark County Auditor and shall do all things reasonable and necessary to accomplish the purpose of this ordinance. Be it further ordained, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and of any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with the law. Be it further ordained that this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of public peace, health, safety, convenience, and welfare of the Village of East Canton, and shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage at the earliest date allowable by law. This transfer here, we normally transfer about $200,000 from the general fund each year into the police operating fund. We have to do this to get us through April 30th of next year because our current fund balance in the police department is right around $61,889.34. And we have 3 more pay periods left in this year. And that fund balance is probably going to be down somewhere. By the time we get done paying wages and all the benefits, it'll probably be down around $20,000. And that's not enough to carry us through till the first quarter of next year.
So
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Blue, yes. Context.
Yay.
Van,
Yes.
Amstutz.
Yeah.
Buxton.
Yay.
motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yay.
Baloo. Yay.
That's what I do.
Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Hampson.
Yay.
Buxton.
Yay.
Third and final reading by title only, an ordinance to authorize the Village of East Canton fiscal officer to make the following inter-fund transfer between the general fund, Fund number 1000-910-910, and the Police Operating Fund, Fund number 2904-931-0000, and to declare an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo. Yes. Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Homestead.
Yay.
Buxton.
Yay.
The next ordinance is an inter-fund transfer from the general fund to the permanent capital improvement fund in the amount of $200,000. This transfer is being made, as part of the water tower rehabilitation and the Center Street waterline project. If you guys remember that EPA will cover the loan for the water tower portion of the project, they will cover the loan for the water line portion of the project, but they will not cover the repaving of Center Street. So this $200,000 is being transferred into the capital improvement fund. That way we will use this money to pay for the paving of Center Street when all the work is done. Ordinance number 2024-23, an ordinance to authorize the Village of East Canton fiscal officer to make the following inter-fund transfer between the general fund, Fund number 1000-910-910, and the Permanent Capital Improvement Fund, Fund number 4901-931-0000, and to declare an emergency. Be it hereby ordained by the Council of Village of East Canton that the Village of East Canton authorizes the fiscal officer to perform the following inter-fund transfer. General fund to capital improvement fund transfer, decrease the general fund transfers out fund 1000-910-910 by $200,000, and to increase the permanent capital improvement fund, Fund number 4901-931-0000 by $200,000, effective 12/2/24. That the Village of East Canton fiscal officer shall certify the increased appropriations to the Stark County Auditor and shall do all things reasonable and necessary to accomplish the purpose of this ordinance. Be it further ordained, it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and of any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with the law. Be it further ordained that the ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, convenience, and welfare of the Village of East Canton, and shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and at the earliest date allowable by law.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yay.
Baloo. Yes. Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Hampstead.
Yay.
Buxton.
Yay.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo. Yes. Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Hampstead.
Yay.
Buxton.
Yay.
Third and final reading by title only, ordinance number 2024-23, an ordinance to authorize the Village of East Canton fiscal officer to make the following interfund transfer between the general fund, Fund number 1000-910-910, and the Permanent Capital Improvement Fund, Fund number 4901-931-0000, and to declare an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo. Yes. Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Hampstead.
Yay.
Buxton.
Yay.
And brings us to grants. There's nothing to report on grants at this time. Finance.
Finance, I'd like to make a motion to approve invoices, $26,097.03.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo. Yes. Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Yay.
Buxton.
Yay. I'd also like to make a motion to approve payroll, in the amount of $15,516.50.
So,
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo. Yes. Contos.
yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Yay.
Buxton.
Yay.
Yeah, I believe the fiscal officer Geist presents the council the appropriations report for 12/4/24. You email that out?
So it's attached to your packet. Starts at page 17, or no, 18. Page 18 through 28 of your packet.
I did not get that. I'll take your word on
You didn't get the council packet?
it. No. Did you send it to the old email or the new one?
Send it to the tablet.
It should be right in the Outlook.
Should be in your Outlook. Right there. Click on that.
There?
Yeah.
There.
Click on that and open it.
Okay. Okay.
It reminds me, I'll be touching base with all of the council people and Charlie, and I'll get your tablets. And now that everybody's got their emails all set up, Derek, do you have your new email set up?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, when Derek gets his email set up, we will get the tablets and we will change it from the old Outlook emails to the new one, and hopefully that'll solve your problem.
Yeah.
I sent the packet to your new,
Yeah, I did. I got it.
okay, to your new email,
Mhm.
so.
Is there anything I need to do with this appropriations?
No.
Also to remind the council of the new mandatory requirement for fraud training from the auditor of state. And says the following individuals need to finish the fraud training. All the police officers except for Sergeant Crutch.
All of them?
That's what it says.
The only one that might, Josh, and I have to go in there and say, maybe Carver finished his. But as far,
Yeah.
if they did finish, they didn't send the certificates to me, and I don't know. That's the only way I know whether or not they.
All right, I'll have them be on me or something, because as far as I knew, everybody did it.
That's fine. If they did, they didn't forward me. That's why it's still on here, so.
And there's a notice to all council members from the Department of Commerce to object to any liquor license renewals.
Yeah, the letter, page 29 of your council packet is the letter that came from the Department of Commerce Liquor Division. Basically, liquor license all expire on February 1st. They're giving us, if we have a trouble spot in town, we can send a notice to them. They can hold a public hearing based on that. I don't know, I haven't heard of any that has been causing us issues, so, but
It's pretty much a yearly.
it is, but they're giving you the opportunity to request a public hearing if you would like. So if there is an issue or you would like to have a public hearing for any of the liquor licenses, let me know. I'll send a letter into them. So,
We haven't had a ton of calls or anything or complaints, and I haven't heard of anything.
Not from the establishments here.
I only got one bar
I
left.
only have one bar, and we haven't had a call there in months.
Didn't somebody just take over somebody else's liquor license? Is,
Lowry's, they're serving beer and wine or whatever, but it's not a bar and.
well, it doesn't have to be a bar. It's just a
I'm
liquor
saying
license.
that, but
Yeah.
I mean, who's going up to Lowry's to get crazy? And then the Family Dollar selling beer.
So does Green Farms.
So
Where
it's
did they put all these? I thought we only allowed so many.
They've opened up more.
Does Family Dollar still have them craters in their entrance that we've got complaints about the past?
That's Dollar General.
Oh, I'm thinking Dollar General.
Family Dollar just bulldozed their whole thing and repaved it, didn't they? Yeah,
It's a good thing everybody's behaving themselves.
but they painted all the parking stripes for the 3 cars a day. They need to put a little grocery thing in the other side that ain't getting used, and they'll be busy. That's me talking.
Okay, we got a proposed gas and oil lease for the village hall property. Depending on which parcels would be involved in the lease agreement with the village, would receive an amount from $397.50 to $875 for this proposed lease.
Basically, this came in the mail out of nowhere. I think it's just somebody that had some time and they're going through and checking properties that don't have signed oil and gas leases on them. I forwarded this to Charlie because I thought that's what it was. Somebody wanted to lease our mineral rights for the 134 or the 130 property. They're offering $2,500 per acre, but if you toggle down through, the parcel that's listed as 130 Cedar Street is only 0.159 acres. There's actually 3 parcels here that Village Hall sits on. So if you take the 0.159 times 2,500, that comes to $397.50. If you include the other 2, there's a center strip here that's almost like a road right away. It's 0.049 acres. And then the back one where the old Bowman house used to sit, that's 0.142 acres. So if you add all 3 of them together, you would get $875 for the oil and gas lease. But if they just do the one that Village Hall sits on, it's only $397.50. So I don't have the authority to say yay or nay. I guess it's up to council. The $397.50 or even the $875 is not going to make or break the village. Let's put it that way.
Now, what would that mean down the road if they have the right for the mineral rights for leasing? Could they then put like a well on there?
No, they're trying to, it's just to pool it with all the other parcels in the vicinity. And if they pull it and if they start producing, then you might get a royalty payment of a small amount.
What's the downside?
There is no downside to the village. Should approve.
They'll do it one way or the other. I mean, they're
I mean, if there's no downside, there's gonna be an income for the village down the road, and there's no sense for it to go through.
We get,
The checks you get, like $4.
$20 this year.
Okay.
well, the oil wells down at the park, I think I'd have to go look and see, but we usually get about $1,600 off of those.
What the hell?
But
Yeah, I
that's,
get $20 for the whole
that's
year.
production and severance tax that we get off of that, so.
For the year.
Or you just sit on it and wait till somebody else comes along and
What'd you get?
I don't know. They
Play
like
them against each
$4
other.
here and $5 there.
Like I
It's
said,
not gonna
it's
make
not-
or break anything.
Right.
Freaking
Or
tax
they
on it.
even.
Have to report off to
They
village.
No, they don't.
They don't.
No,
They
it's
don't.
just-
They don't.
They just write the suck them underneath your parcel.
Right, that's all they want.
Okay,
So it's not a decision you have to make. There's-
It's easier to throw them away.
okay.
it's their account.
This brings us to other. Is there any other business that needs to be brought before the council?
We only have one more meeting before the end of the year. I assume that if the mayor is ready to move forward with interviewing or whatever, he will call a special meeting.
Sounds about right. Okay, then I will make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yes.
Blue. Yes. Canton.
Yes.
Van.
Yes.
Amstad. Buxton.
Thanks.